Folks in Monticello are helping to pay for funeral expenses after a family of 6 was killed in a car crash.
One day after firing the firm searching for Fayette County's next school superintendent, school leaders talk about what's next.
And authorities are still trying to determine a motive after 2 gunmen were killed at an art contest near Dallas earlier today.
Tracking, alerting, protecting. WKYT News starts now with breaking news.
Firefighters and police are on the scene right now of a school bus crash in Clark County.
It happened about 3:30 this afternoon on Kobe Road. The front end of the bus was heavily damaged. Students were on board at the time of that crash. WKYT's Jordan Valines is live at the scene with the breaking details. Jordan?
That's right. We're told there were about 15 school kids on the bus when the accident happened around 3:30 this afternoon on Colby Road. And if you take a look here behind me, you can see right now they're in the process of towing away the school bus that was involved in the accident. Now, deputies with the sheriff's office say the accident happened when a Chevy Blazer traveling inbound slammed on its brakes after seeing a mail carrier and another car stopped on the other side of the hill. When the driver of the Blazer slammed on the brakes, it caused them to swerve in front of the school bus, and in order to avoid a head-on collision, the school bus driver swerved to the left side of the road. We're told the Blazer was also severely damaged, and the driver of the Blazer was transported from the scene to Clark Regional Hospital, but deputies say that they were not seriously injured. We've also been told, thankfully, that none of the school children were injured in the accident. Now, they do expect this stretch of road to be closed for about another 30 minutes or so, but we will have a live update for you coming up tonight at 6. Live in Clark County, Jordan Valines, WKYT.
Jordan, thank you. A southern Kentucky community is trying to come to grips today with an horrific loss. 6
people, all members of the same family, were killed in a crash. It happened Friday night on Kentucky 90, just south of Monticello. The community is now coming forward to help surviving members of the family. WKYT's Sam Smith has more on the outpouring of support in our top story at 5.
Folks here in Monticello are still shaken by the news of the crash on Friday, and they're determined to help out how they can. Donations have been flowing into the Hicks Vaughn Funeral Home since the wreck. They're handling the funeral arrangements. They're also collecting donations to help pay for it. The national average for a funeral is around $7,500. The crash victim's family has to pay for 6 funerals. For 41-year-old Tina Proctor, 25-year-old Audrey Ellis, 12-year-old Nate Proctor, 4-year-old Red Barnhouse, 2-year-old Zoe Bertram, and 17-month-old Jace Bertram. Anthony Vaughn owns the funeral home. He says they've received donations from individuals and churches throughout the area. He says he's not surprised that people are willing to help.
They've not really looked at it like it's been a family responsibility or it's been a funeral home responsibility. Really, the community has handled this like, hey, this is our duty. And, you know, for that, we're proud.
The funeral home will accept cards, cash, or checks. In Wayne County, Sam Smith, WKYT.
One of the victims was an elementary school student. Grief counselors were at the school to help his classmates. A cat has died after a fire at a Lexington apartment earlier today. Firefighters were called to Jennifer Place Apartments on Jennifer Road just before noon. No one was home at the time of the fire, but firefighters tell us they tried to revive a cat that was inside the home, but were not able to save it. Firefighters were able to quickly put that fire out and kept it from spreading to neighboring apartments.
With this fire, it was in the bedroom, so we were able to confine it to the room of origin. Our crews went inside and performed a really quick knockdown on the fire.
No one was injured. The cause of that fire remains under investigation.
The trial for a man accused of killing his girlfriend began this morning. Police say that Chico Rucker killed Almia Ferris in 2013 and dumped her body behind an apartment complex on Marietta Drive. According to investigators, he says he killed Ferris in self-defense. A jury will be seated this afternoon for Rucker's trial. It started this morning in Fayette Circuit Court. They're expecting opening statements this afternoon. That trial is expected to last through Thursday. Louisville police say a Canadian tourist in town for the Kentucky Derby was shot to death near his hotel during a robbery. 3 people have been arrested in connection with the killing. Investigators say the victim and his friend were walking to their hotel Saturday night when they were robbed. Police say the victim, who is from Toronto, fought back and was shot during the struggle. Police say the 3 arrested were responsible for a string of Derby night robberies. It's a summer-like day here in the Bluegrass with plenty of sunshine and temperatures getting up into the 80s. And this trend is expected to continue all week. Let's check in now with Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey live in our First Alert Weather Center with an early look at the forecast. Chris?
Yeah, a lot of summertime showing up, Sam, over the next several days, showing up out there this past Kentucky Derby weekend, and we're just going to keep it rolling on through the foreseeable future. Right now, Lexington, got a mix of some sun and some clouds, but look at our temperature. It is 81 degrees. Winds are coming out of the southwest at 10 miles per hour, so hitting the low 80s in most areas this afternoon. We're a little cooler into Covington at 76 because that's an area that has a hint more of some clouds. 81 Jackson, London, the warm spot locally at 82 degrees. Live First Alert Defender, a spotty shower, maybe a rumble of thunder into Boone, Kenton, Campbell counties, northern Kentucky, maybe back to the southwest toward the Kentucky Speedway. A lot of this, though, ahead of a front that is hugging areas to our north, and that means it's pretty much going to stay to our north. Weather headlines, middle of summertime temperatures that are showing up throughout the region. Humidity is going to join the party as the week goes on, so we may be talking about a little bit of a muggy factor that will eventually lead to some thunder showing up in that extended forecast when I come back in just a few minutes.
All right, Chris, we'll see you then. One day after firing the firm searching for Fayette County's new superintendent, school leaders are discussing what comes next. The board cut its ties with PROACT during a special meeting yesterday after disturbing allegations were brought out last week against the CEO of that company. WKYT's Victor Puente is live outside the central office with more about what comes next in the search.
Well, today's meeting was originally a budget discussion, but the changes to the superintendent search were brought up briefly. Yesterday, the Fayette County School Board voted to sever the contract with PROACT Search, the company that was in charge of finding applicants to be Fayette County's next superintendent. That happened because the company's CEO was recently the target of an investigation by the Chicago Sun-Times involving inappropriate behavior when he was a high school dean and teacher. Because of that move, the school board is now looking for a new firm to assist with the superintendent search. Marlene Helm is the acting superintendent, and the board had hoped to find a new one by July 1st. They say that date may now have to be pushed back. Today they discussed setting up new meetings with firms interested in taking over. They hope to have information on some of those firms available by Friday. A PROACT search did find about 30 candidates, and the school board plans to keep those applications.
If we're able to get a new firm on board, we want to have a process where people could continue to submit applications as well if they're not comfortable with submitting those with PROACT.
We don't know yet if the school board will get back the $7,000 they've given PROACT Search so far, or if they'll owe them any more money. We also don't know if Marlene Helm will stay on as superintendent if the date is pushed back past July 1st. Live in Lexington, Victor Puente, WKYT.
Victor, thank you. The school board will meet again Saturday morning to continue discussing the superintendent search.
The two men killed while trying to attack a controversial art contest near Dallas have been identified.
Authorities are now trying to figure out what motivated the men who reportedly lived together in Arizona. Adriana Diaz has the story from Garland, Texas.
FBI agents removed the bodies of two gunmen killed outside the Curtis Colwell Center during a contest for the best drawing of the Prophet Muhammad. Authorities say a Garland, Texas police officer, normally assigned to traffic duty, used his service revolver to take down the two men firing assault rifles.
Under the fire that he was put under, he did a very good job.
The FBI says the gunmen were Nadir Sufi and Elton Simpson. Simpson was convicted in 2011 for lying to FBI agents over his desire to join a jihadist group in Somalia.
Their strategy was to get to the event center, into the event center, and they were not able to get past that outer perimeter.
Local police and the FBI spent months planning security for Sunday night's controversial show. A free speech organization held the event at the same venue where a pro-Islamic conference took place earlier this year. Pamela Geller organized Sunday's event. She's the president of the American Freedom Initiative.
This incident proves just how violent the war is on freedom, and it's here. It's not just Paris and Copenhagen. It's here. The war is here.
A spokesman for an Islamic organization in the U.S. said the show was an attempt to bait the Muslim community. Police detonated several items in the gunman's car as a precaution, but found no explosives. Adriana Diaz, CBS News, Garland, Texas.
A security guard who was shot at the scene has already been released from the hospital.
A New York City police officer shot in the head over the weekend in the city borough of Queens has died. Officer Brian Moore, 25 years old, had been in a medically induced coma at Jamaica Hospital after undergoing emergency surgery following the incident on Saturday night. After announcing the tragic death, Commissioner Bratton, along with scores of police officers, saluted Officer Moore as his body left the hospital in an ambulance. The suspect, Demetrius Blackwell, who's 35, was ordered held without bail on Sunday. Police say that Officer Moore and his partner, Officer Eric Jansen, exchanged some words with Blackwell before he turned suddenly and fired at least twice, striking Moore on Saturday. More than a week has passed since the devastating earthquake in Nepal, and rescuers are still struggling to reach some hard-hit remote villages. The death toll now stands at more than 7,300. The government warns that number is expected to go up much higher. An estimated 3 million people need food, and hundreds of thousands are still living in tents and temporary shelters.
Follow WKYT online at WKYT.com. Join the conversation on Twitter and become a part of the WKYT Facebook family.
Traffic on Alumni Drive near the UK campus will be slowed in the coming days, but that inconvenience should make it easier on bicycle riders and pedestrians.
A major reconstruction project includes 2 new roundabouts, and as Mike Linden reports, the project also will require temporary partial closures of Alumni Drive between Nicholasville and Tates Creek.
One of the most congested areas of the UK campus is getting a much-needed makeover.
This new alumni corridor is part of a modernized infrastructure that has been needed to accomplish what is going on here at the University of Kentucky.
Campus officials say 2 roundabouts and several other road features, including a bicycle lane and walking lane, will not only make the area safer, but less congested too. Beginning May 10th, the intersection of University Drive and Alumni Drive will close for the summer for a $5 million realignment project. UK officials say that by closing down this intersection for the entire summer, that it will allow them to finish the project in just a short amount of time, when this project could normally take up to a year to complete.
If we try to do it during the school year and do the same thing, it would be devastating. It's already difficult to be here as it is. It would be even worse if we tried to do it then.
According to UK President Eli Capilouto, anywhere from 18 to 20,000 vehicles pass through the intersection on a daily basis. He says the top priority of the realignment project is driver safety.
Roundabouts reduce the number of possible crashes from 32 to 20. People slow down when they go in roundabouts because they're on curves, not in straight lines.
The intersection will reopen September 1st, just in time for the start of the academic year. In Lexington, Mike Linden, WKYT.
Well, while that entire project should be finished by September 1st, a portion of Alumni Drive between Nicholasville Road and Tates Creek Road will reopen August 17th.
Another major road construction project in Lexington will get underway next weekend. The intersection of Man o' War Boulevard and Harrodsburg Road will be reconstructed. All 4 southeastbound lanes on Man o' War will be extended 400 feet from the intersection. There will be no left turns from those lanes onto Harrodsburg during the construction. That project is expected to take 2 weeks to complete.
It is time now for Better Living, health, education, and consumer news that impacts your life. Did you know gum disease is a common side effect of diabetes? Symptoms like bleeding gums are an indication you should see your dentist right away. Ultimately, tooth loss can happen. Jim Morelli has ways to keep your teeth healthy while living with diabetes.
Those living with diabetes are 3 times more likely to get gum disease than healthy people.
Diabetes changes the way the body reacts to bacteria. We all have bacteria in our mouths, and it's a matter of keeping it in a balance.
Dr. Robert Yurko is a periodontist at the Tufts University School of Dental Medicine in Boston. He says diabetes essentially overtaxes and thus weakens the immune system. In the mouth, that can lead to gingivitis. In a worst-case scenario, Yurko says, gum disease can lead to loss of teeth.
The number one thing that they have to do is to control their blood glucose.
Yurko says high blood sugar levels carried to the mouth result in inflammation of the gums.
See, in this area here is bleeding now.
Regular professional cleanings are definitely important, but what those with diabetes do every day can have a major impact. Plaque is a bacterial film that must be mechanically removed by brushing and flossing. Yurko says technique is more important than frequency.
Put the brush on an angle.
So brush gently after meals or at least twice a day using a soft toothbrush. And don't forget to massage the gums with that brush using gentle circular motions. In Boston, Jim Morelli for CNN.
Cards, flowers, jewelry. It looks like people are planning to shower their moms with lots of love and gifts this year. According to the National Retail Federation, folks are expected to shell out more than $21 billion for Mother's Day. That's an average of $172. Most people surveyed said they would buy mom a greeting card, and 2 out of every 3 people polled said they would buy flowers. About a third of people said they plan to buy jewelry. If you still haven't found a gift for your mom, you might want to get a move on. Her big day is Sunday. And Comcast is moving forward after its failed takeover of Time Warner Cable. The company says first quarter profits were up 10% compared to last year. Comcast now has nearly as many internet subscribers as cable customers, about 22.4 million each. The profit margin is larger for internet service.